question is, how has our program adjusted to the pandemic? Well, first of all, one of our recurring themes in the Communication Upward Bound program is an ongoing method of encouraging our students to use their voice. When the pandemic shut down the schools at the end of March last year, we knew that for our virtual summer program, I knew that we wanted to include something that gave the students an opportunity to talk about their feelings and their emotions. So we actually incorporated a course entitled Introduction to Your Emotions and Well-Being. And every day the instructor would ask the students, please describe how you're doing. We went through a course of defining emotions, because teenagers like to say, I'm okay, but what does that really mean? So he gave them descriptive terms to describe exactly how they were doing. And from that, students were able to discuss a myriad of emotions. It's not just that they were doing bad, maybe they were depressed, maybe they were sad. Depression and sadness and anger, those are all different terms. And so the students gained insight in terms of the terms of their emotions, but as well, they were able to connect and engage with one another about how they were doing specifically during COVID.
Last year, when the program was forced to adjust to the pandemic by going all virtual, the staff embraced the opportunity to ensure that students were still being connected with in a remote basis. We had to pivot very quickly as our summer enrichment program was just right around the corner, and we had to make sure that we had a program, number one, but that the program was meaningful. And I think we did an excellent job of doing that. And the staff has also bought into the fact that they need to remain in contact using the technology that's available to us to make sure that students still have opportunities to further their education. So the program has continued to try to advance during the pandemic. And as we've gotten further along, the staff and the program has advanced technologically to respond to the students' needs.
Come to find out, for Upward Bound Empowerment and the Upward Bound Wichita Prep programs, many of the tasks and things that we were already doing already positioned us to go remote. So we made a very easy transition. Our students were still familiar with the consistent schedule that we have, so they were able to consistently come. We didn't have a lot of drop off as far as students participating. So even though pandemic happened, we were able to continue to hit the ground running with providing all of the, activities that Upward Bound offers. One other thing that we had to, I would say, make a more impactful gesture towards our students is we would call them and text them in the morning to make sure that they are logging in for their courses here within the school district and giving them that extra. So we gave them like wake up calls, and we would send them supporting type of texts throughout the day just to make sure that they still felt engaged, because it was a hard transition going remote because it wasn't a physical touch there. But all in all, I believe that we handled it very well, hitting the ground running with continuing serving Upward Bound students.
Whenever the pandemic hit and everyone was sent home, both from schools and from Kansas Kids at Gear Up, we were not ready. And so staff had to quickly learn how to use Zoom software. But then what we found was our students didn't have laptop availability in some of their foster homes. They didn't have internet connectivity, I guess you'd call it. And so we had to quickly not only prepare our staff for being online and providing virtual services, but we had to prepare the students by getting some laptops, which were kind of hard to order at the time, but we did, and we got them sent out to our students that needed them. We made sure that we worked with local partners to make sure that they had the internet. That took a little while, but we did it. And so our staff are really good at Zoom now, and we're going to continue this even after the pandemic is over.
Us being in an Upward Bound Math and Science program, technology is the key to success. learning about the different avenues and things about working with the computers, thinking out the box for our student has been a great success for us. Being able to do Zoom meetings with our students and still provide services on Saturday sessions, and them still making it fun and engaging is an important factor for going through this pandemic. It just allowed my staff to be more think out the box, and also have our students think out the box on how we can better serve them, and it challenged us as a staff on our programming efforts to make sure that we're meeting all the services they need.
Hayesville Gear Up has been able to adjust to the challenges of the pandemic from 2 weeks before it was even announced that they were going fully virtual. We started looking at our methods of communication. We started looking at our program activities, the transition going to a complete virtual platform, how we were going to document all of our services, and of course, translate that into making sure that we're using the proper engagement tools for the students and leveraging all the technology and resources, and even more so our social media platforms. Once we started executing our programming fully virtual, there's a couple of keys, a couple of things that served as a fundamental key point for our students, and that was having enough stream forms of platforms where they can communicate with us, stay in contact with us, whether it was through texting, through email, FaceTime, Google Meets, social media. We were adjusting to meeting the students where they were at, and even looking more so into our summer programming where we needed to provide that at a complete capacity, being virtually and still making that engagement and meeting all the needs that the students needed at that time, whether it was technology access, Wi-Fi access, and what that entailed. And so there was a lot of data collected initially to know what type of resources our students needed in order for us to be successful in delivering the services that we needed to all of our class of 2024 and 2025.
So up until February of 2020, all of our students thought that they were going to come on campus again, particularly our upperclassmen. They'd already had experiences in the dorms. We decided to take them to Chicago, and then in March, we had to do a full stop and transition. I really wanted to set the programming for the summer program. I wanted to set the bar really high. So I thought I would leverage my career in the music business, where I worked full-time for 25 years, but it had to have a connection to the communication field. So I contacted one of my good friends in Beverly Hills, who has been a director at Sony Pictures. She taught the course Introduction to Television and Film. She's made some exciting movies. She produced a film that was #1 on Lifetime TV last summer. So the students were very excited about that. And then I connected with another friend of mine out of New York with publicity, public relations. Public relations is a big field in communication. So the students were very excited. I did not want to have anything boring. I really wanted them to be excited, and our instructors were just larger than life. And we only had the courses for 40 minutes. So it was a little bit shorter than the regular in-person classes, but it was a great success for all of our students.
Well, there have been a number of successes that we're proud of in TRIO Talent Search that happened over the pandemic. We're obviously very happy with how tutoring went, that we were still able to do campus visits. We had a summer program, and that we've been able to, continue with our counseling. But I think one of the things that really stands out to me is that we had 6 of our students get selected for the Give Something Back scholarship, which a lot of students did pull out, but we still had 6. And what that basically means is that some of our 9th graders received a full ride scholarship to the college of their choice. And so that was very instrumental for us in terms of knowing that we were providing the type of support to students that still enabled them to receive this very prestigious scholarship. So although the pandemic hindered a lot of things, the students worked really, really hard to make sure that they were competitive. And we were proud that we received, notification that 6 of our students did indeed receive that scholarship.
There were several, I would say, program successes. The typical ones, passing out laptops, mobile hotspots, students still receiving their scholarships and applying for scholarships. However, the biggest success is a lot of our services we were able to do remotely, but not food. Oftentimes students come to tutoring and this is where they get their dinner, believe it or not. And if we have anything left over, sometimes, their parents may come by and get some of that. So one of the biggest program successes since March of 2020 to present is food distribution. So we have been able to partner with a lot of different restaurants and small business owners and caterers, actually sort of helping them stay in business as well and keep them engaged during the pandemic. But we've been able to do food distribution once a week, and the students and their parents, they come, we have our mask on and all of that, and we're able to provide curbside pickup for our students. So I would say that is the biggest, and from our surveys and things of that nature, the students and parents really appreciate that, because also during the pandemic, some of our parents lost their jobs and unemployed. So it was a really big help.
One of our great successes in programming is this year we collaborated with Texas Upper Bound programs with a senior series workshops, and it was going to be going on from October until May. And so that is really good. We'll get to collaborate with other Upper Bound from Texas, and some of the topics that we have is college fair. We had a scholarship fair. We have one called Show Me the Money, talk about FAFSA, the corrections, doing all that. And then we also had an ACT boot camp last fall, and then we had one this spring as well. And I think the students really enjoyed that, because a lot of students in our survey, they wanted more ACT prep. So we provided that service for them. And then also we do grab bags for students each month with a theme. Like this month coming up, we're doing something to deal with Valentine's. So we're giving them some positive re-engagement and stuff in their packet that they're getting that is positive, because a lot of the times students are really tired of doing the online thing. So we try to put some encouraging cards in there, some encouraging words about them, or sometimes we even have a little activity that they can do just as a stress reliever for them. So those are our success programs that we did for our students this year.
One of the program successes that I can talk about was how the staff stepped up to cover whatever was going on that we found was a detriment to students participating in the program. Now, we have 2,500 students, and they're spread out all over the state of Kansas, and we have 40 staff to serve them. And so everyone would do these porch drop-offs where they were planning an event, say like a Facebook Live event, but the students needed the supplies to go with that event. So they would drive all over the place, dropping these off on the porch, usually with a little bit of snacks or food or something to go with it, so the student would stay engaged. And they did a lot of that beforehand, and then conducted these workshops online, but they made sure the students had everything. And so I didn't hear any complaints. I was so surprised, because that was a lot of driving to be able to provide activity materials and then to go online and provide those activities. Sometimes we'd find that students had been moved from one foster home to another, and so we had to track them down in order to provide them with the activity materials. But it worked out, and the staff really enjoyed themselves.
Our biggest success so far would be just going back to the basics of continuing to build the relationship with students. Even through a pandemic and going fully virtual, one thing that we can really rely on is having that relationship. And it really showed now when students started disengaging with their academics, not showing up for their Google Classrooms or Meets, we continued to have that relationship with those students to hold them accountable. And so whenever we show our impact reports with the district and our partners on the level of engagement that we continue to have with the students, we are now being a resource and a support for the school to continue to push those students to get back engaged to their academics. And so right now, our level of engagement with that is higher than what the district, our current cohort, has. And we are trying to leverage that and pretty much decrease that gap for them. And really it comes down to being able to meet with where the students are at, where it's social media, we continue to have that, and even with any other platform. And so I think that's what really has given us a bigger a step up on even now going virtual, of not losing that relationship, not losing that engagement. And we've been able to successfully deliver all of our services throughout this whole time.
So encouraging words for our students, our parents, our staff. One of the first things that we wanted to do, that I wanted to do for both the staff and the students, was to affirm and validate their feelings during the pandemic, to allow them to express how they were doing without judgment, during this time. For the students, I wanted to let them know, we wanted to let them know how so very proud that we are of them. They were all doing very, very well. So we wanted to affirm them. And then most of all, we wanted to share with them that tough times come. Hard times will come in life. Life is full of ups and downs. And sometimes hard times comes, most hard times will come, and they don't have an expiration date. And so I told them that if they would persevere and press their way, that they would be better. They would not be worse because of the pandemic, but in fact, they would grow and become better and be stronger.
This is the last year of the TRIO Talent Search grant, but we are currently in the process of writing a new grant so that we can continue for 5 more years into the future. And I just want to assure that everybody out there who may be listening to this, that we will do our best to make sure that this program continues for the rest of this year and beyond. And whether if we're in a virtual format, we have to continue with remote services, or if it's in person, and one day we will be back in person and working with our students in all of our schools. I just want to assure you that we're going to continue with the same level of professional type of services that will help our students stay in school, graduate, and enroll in college. And then hopefully one day they will be college graduates themselves and become excellent citizens of Wichita or the state, the United States. So I just want you to understand that we will continue to do our best, whether it's myself or someone else or the staff. We will continue to do whatever we need to do to make sure that the TRIO Talent Search program is a viable program that students, parents, and our school partners can count on.
Encouraging words for our students and partners. I told the students, and I'll tell them again, is they're history makers. This is, the first year of remote learning, first year of, curbside pickup solely, first year, so the encouragement is that you are a history maker and that you have persisted through the ups and the downs of what has happened around you, but it hasn't changed. And because it hasn't changed, that's why I continue to encourage our students and partners that we're history makers. Another thing is Upward Bound and TRIO Gear Up programs, in my opinion, are evergreen. So no matter what happens with circumstances or conditions in this world, we're able to still persist. And so we are still here, and we have a mandate that students graduate high school on time, and encouraging students to go to college, and still have that expectation that you, students, and everyone involved helping you to make that happen, that you become a college graduate, that you realize your college dream. So my encouragement, you're history makers, you've made it through the hard part, continue doing that, and Upward Bound will continue serving.
Our students in foster care go through many obstacles in their lives, and this is just another obstacle that they're going to be able to overcome. And we're going to be here to help them. Several small businesses have gone under due to the pandemic, but we're here and we're going to always be here for them to help them to continue on to succeed in high school and then to go on to college. And that's what we're here to do, and we're going to be here for both the students. We're going to support our staff and their needs in helping those students, and then we're going to support our partners for whatever they need in helping the students. So my message is we're here and they're going to succeed.
I want to tell my Upper Bound students, our partners, and our staff that we all are successful when our students are successful. And I have 7 rules of life that I want to tell you to remember. One is make peace with your past so you won't mess your present up. The time heals everything, so give it time. We want what other thinks of you is none of their business. Just love yourself. Don't compare yourself to others and don't judge them. Stop thinking so much. It's already now not a answer right now. So if you don't get the answer right now, it's okay. Just continue to work it out. No one is in charge of your happiness except you. And then smile, for you don't own all the problems in the world. And that is so true. Just continue to be faithful to yourself, continue to grow, continue to learn, and be patient with one another. And we will get through this pandemic, we'll get through this life, we get through your education, and we want you to be successful.
We know that there are times that it won't be easy, but it will always be worth it. And Hayesville Gear Up will continue to serve students and support them and allow any type of resource available that we could bring up to them. At the end of the day, when challenges come to us, it's all about mindset and perspective. And so it's so important for us to train our mind to see the good in everything that we do, because positivity, at the end of the day, it's a choice. Challenges are going to come every single day. Everybody is on a different boat and they're handling a different storm. But by the end of the day, it's how we react to each situation. And so what we have already told our students is that they are now in control on how they're navigating this current journey and what they're willing to learn from it. And so on the contrary of other students that are just now going to college, they're now being pushed or forced into a situation where they need to learn how to take courses online before going to college. They need to learn how to navigate a lot of other platforms before going to college. So in hindsight, they're getting the benefit of learning heads up than their previous class. And so we try to continue to keep things positive, and we hope that they do as the same as far as families and community partners. So as long as we can be strong, because things will get better. The storm won't last forever, and we will continue to row in the same direction and help each other out, and Gear Up will always be here.